If you're a die-hard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. It's been a brutal season in Cleveland, and there's really no other way to put it. The Browns came into 2025 carrying the weight of expectation, the kind that only piles up after years of heartbreak, chaos, and constant rebuilding. But what's unfolded so far has been a slow-motion car crash of injuries, offensive inconsistency, and the same kind of offensive identity crisis that's haunted this team for years. Yet, in the middle of that storm, a name that was once whispered with potential Cedric Tillman might finally be ready to grab the mic and tell the league who he really is. Because while the first half of the season has been one to forget, the second half could be the moment Cedric Tillman finally steps into the light. Tillman's story is one that feels familiar to fans who've watched the Browns churn through receivers, with flashes of brilliance but little staying power. Coming into his third season, the former Tennessee standout was expected to take a big leap. He had shown promise in stretches before 302 yards, and for touchdowns across a 4-game burst last year. Before that brutal concussion cut his momentum short, he looked like he was on the verge of something special, the kind of breakout that could finally give Cleveland a legitimate outside weapon to pair with Jerry Jeudy. But football doesn't always follow the script. Injuries hit again this year, a hamstring setback landing him on injured reserve early in the 2025 campaign. It was another frustrating chapter for a player who's been stuck in the waiting room of his own potential. Now, after being activated in Week 10, there's a cautious sense of optimism both from fans and from analysts who see the pieces starting to line up. Christopher Knox from Bleacher Report was one of the first to put it into words, predicting Tillman as Cleveland's breakout star for the rest of the season. And it's not just wishful thinking. Knox pointed out something key. The Cleveland Browns desperately need to find a capable perimeter receiver opposite Jerry Jeudy. After being activated from injured reserve hamstring in Week 10, Cedric Tillman might be that receiver. That's not just a compliment, it's a challenge, because the Browns don't just need another body on the field, they need someone to change the energy, to give defenses something else to worry about besides Jeudy and rookie Harold Fannin Jr. Tillman's stats up to this point don't exactly scream breakout star. Through 5 games, he's caught just 13 passes for 117 yards and 2 touchdowns. His best performance, 52 yards in the opener against the Bengals, feels like a lifetime ago. Since then, the Browns' offense has sputtered, their passing attack looking disjointed and uncertain. And while Jeudy and Fannin have found ways to make their mark, Tillman's been more of a ghost in the system. That said, sometimes all it takes is one spark, one change in the play calling, one quarterback starting to see the game differently. And that's where things could start to turn. Enter Tommy Rees, the newly installed play caller, and rookie quarterback Dillon Gabriel, who's slowly finding his footing in the NFL spotlight. Rees brings a fresh perspective to the offense and approach that emphasizes rhythm, vertical threats, and making sure his receivers get into space where they can do damage. For a player like Tillman, whose strength lies in his ability to create separation on the perimeter and go up for contested catches, this could be the perfect storm. The chemistry between quarterback and receiver takes time, and it's something the Browns haven't had much of this year, with all the injuries and changes under center. But with Gabriel improving each week and defenses starting to key in on Jeudy and Fannin, the lanes for Tillman might start to open. If you go back and watch Tillman's college tape, you can still see flashes of what made him such an intriguing prospect in the first place. The physicality, the strong hands, the ability to fight through contact hits, all still there. What's been missing is consistency and opportunity, to things that often go hand in hand. The Browns' offense hasn't done many favors for its receivers lately. The play calling's been conservative, the offensive line has been shaky, and the quarterbacks have struggled with accuracy and decision-making. But if Rees can inject some tempo and trust into this unit, there's no reason Tillman can't carve out a significant role over the final stretch of the season. And it's not just about stats anymore. This is about survival. The Browns are at a crossroads. A franchise that could be staring at major offseason changes if things don't turn around quickly. New faces in the front office, new voices in the locker room, it's all on the table. For players like Tillman, this second half isn't just another stretch of games. It's a chance to define what comes next. It's his opportunity to prove that he can be part of the solution, not just another name in the long line of what could have been stories that haunt Cleveland sports history. There's something different about this setup, though. Tillman's teammates believe in him. Jerry Jeudy has spoken openly about how much Tillman's work ethic stands out in practice. The coaches see it too. They've praised his attention to detail, his ability to learn the offense despite missing time, and his focus on the little things that don't always show up on the stat sheet, like blocking downfield, running precise routes even when he's not the target, and keeping the energy up in the huddle. Those things matter, especially on a team that's fighting to find its identity. Tillman's age 25 makes him a fascinating figure in this offense. He's not a rookie anymore, but he's still young enough to grow into a long-term role. The Browns have been chasing that elusive second receiver to balance out Jeudy for years, trying everyone from veterans on one-year deals to unproven draft picks. None have truly stuck. Tillman has the tools to be that guy, but now it's about execution. It's about translating the flashes into full games, stacking performances, and becoming a reliable option for Gabriel down the stretch. If you listen closely to what Rees said in his introductory presser, you can sense where Tillman fits in. Rees talked about trusting the perimeter and expanding the offense horizontally to open up vertical shots. That's Tillman's sweet spot. He's not just a deep threat, he's a route runner who can create intermediate separation, a red zone weapon with size and strength, and a player who can keep drives alive by winning one-on-one matchups outside the numbers. If the Browns want to get back to playing confident football, they'll need all of that from him. The emotional side of this story shouldn't be overlooked either. Tillman's comeback from injury this year wasn't easy. Hamstring issues are notoriously tricky, especially for wide receivers who rely on burst and acceleration. Coming back too early can derail an entire season, but he took his time, worked his way back through rehab, and now he's ready to contribute. There's a quiet determination in how he talks about this team, about how he still believes they can make a run, about how he's not focused on individual numbers, but on earning the respect of his teammates and coaches. That kind of mindset in a locker room that's been tested can be contagious. For Browns fans, the hope is simple, that Cedric Tillman can become more than a footnote in another lost season. They've seen glimpses of talent before, but this time they want sustainability. They want to see a player who can turn potential into production, someone who can make those contested third down catches, who can stretch the field and give the offense balance. They want to see a player who can rise above the chaos and become a building block for whatever comes next. There's a saying in sports, adversity doesn't build character, it reveals it. For Tillman, this stretch run will reveal everything. The talent is there, the opportunity is there, the timing might finally be right, and if he can take advantage of that, if he can become the player the Browns have been waiting for, he could change not only the trajectory of his career, but also the narrative surrounding this entire team. Because sometimes all it takes to shift a season, or even a franchise, is one player stepping up when everyone else is losing faith. So as the Browns head into the final stretch of 2025, keep an eye on number 19. Don't be fooled by the modest stat line or the quiet start. Cedric Tillman's story isn't finished, it's just hitting the part where things get interesting. The Browns need a spark, a breakout, something to believe in, and maybe, just maybe, it's Tillman's time to give it to them. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. Hold on to your seats, football fans, because the rumor mill has officially exploded and it's shaking the NFL world to its core. Imagine scrolling through your feed and seeing those familiar words that make your heart skip a beat. Odell Beckham Jr. is back with the Browns. Yes, you heard it right. OBJ is not just talking about a comeback, he's stepping back into the orange and brown. And the reactions are already off the charts. Social media is on fire, forums are buzzing, and every fan, casual or die-hard, seems to be debating what this means for the Browns, for the league, and for the sheer chaos that Odell brings whenever he's on the field. This isn't just a signing, it's a cultural event in the NFL, a moment where excitement collides with uncertainty, and nobody knows exactly what to expect, which only makes it more thrilling. The sheer energy of this news has sparked endless speculation. Will OBJ return to form? Will he replicate the magic that made him a household name? Or will this be a story about redemption? About a player chasing a legacy he knows is still within reach? The discussions online range from optimistic projections of highlight reels to cautious reminders that football is unpredictable, that injuries and circumstances have a way of changing everything, yet even the skeptics can't hide their intrigue. There's just something about Beckham's charisma, his flair, his ability to turn a single play into a viral moment that demands attention. Fans have been flooding social media with every conceivable reaction. Some are posting clips of his iconic catches from years past, highlighting every spin, one-handed grab, and gravity-defying leap, accompanied by captions that scream disbelief and excitement. Others are crafting memes that play on the drama of his career, the highs, the lows, the untamed energy that has always made him a polarizing figure, yet impossible to ignore. Discussions on fan forums are filled with threads that dissect everything from his potential impact on the Browns' offense to the psychological boost his presence might bring to the locker room. Analysts and casual fans alike are dissecting rumors about team chemistry, play calling, and the quarterback situation, speculating endlessly about how his arrival could shift dynamics, both on and off the field. And while every bit of speculation is still just that, rumor, excitement, and hope, the sheer magnitude of this return is undeniable. Beckham isn't just a player. He's a narrative. A storyline that the NFL loves because it brings drama, ratings, and conversations that dominate headlines. If you've followed OBJ's career, you know that his journey has never been linear. From the days of catching everyone off guard with his spectacular plays, to the injury setbacks that made fans hold their breath, to the highly publicized moments of tension and triumph, his path has been anything but ordinary. And now, the chatter is louder than ever because his return to Cleveland isn't just a simple transaction. It's loaded with symbolism. It's the idea that some stories aren't finished, that a player can come back to a familiar stage to prove something not only to the world, but also to themselves. The Browns, for their part, seem to be banking on this mix of talent and narrative power. They've seen what Beckham can do when he's healthy and motivated. And now the league will be watching closely to see if this reunion sparks a new chapter that could shake up the standings, redefine matchups, and keep fans glued to screens week after week. Every analyst has a theory. Some say he'll ignite the offense immediately. Others caution that adjusting mid-season is tricky. And still others simply marvel at the marketing power of having OBJ in your lineup. Meanwhile, the rumor mill doesn't stop there. Some whispers suggest that Beckham's return could influence other player movements, that his presence might shift strategies around the league, forcing defenses to reconsider their approaches and offenses to rethink their plans. Imagine cornerbacks studying film not just to anticipate routes, but to anticipate the unpredictable creativity that Beckham brings. Imagine quarterbacks recalibrating timing, throws, and audibles to accommodate a player who doesn't just run routes but makes them a spectacle. It's not just about stats or plays, it's about influence. About the energy a player of this caliber injects into every practice, huddle, and game day. And for the Browns fan base, the excitement is palpable. Discussions online are so animated that you can almost feel the collective pulse of a city waking up to the possibility of unforgettable moments. Some are reminiscing about past glories, while others are imagining the potential for new ones, crafting mental highlight reels of catches that defy logic, celebrations that energize a stadium, and the kind of headline-making plays that keep sports shows buzzing long after the game ends. Of course, with Beckham, there's always a hint of unpredictability. No one can quite pin down what his exact impact will be, and that's part of the thrill. The Browns could be looking at a revitalized offense, one where OBJ's presence opens up opportunities for teammates and stretches defenses in ways that change the dynamics of every matchup. Or alternatively, they could face the classic questions about chemistry, adjustment, and consistency that have followed Beckham throughout his career. And that uncertainty is a key part of the story because even skepticism fuels conversation, and every debate, analysis, and prediction adds to the narrative tension that makes sports coverage so compelling. Fans are dissecting everything from potential helmet decals to jersey sales, from locker room dynamics to sideline interactions, imagining what this reunion means not just on paper, but as a living, breathing drama that will unfold on a national stage. One of the most fascinating aspects of this rumor and now news is the social ripple effect. Every media outlet, podcast, and fan account is lighting up with content, opinions, and speculation. Highlights from Beckham's career are being reshared. Old interviews are resurfacing, and every little tidbit about his training, his mindset, or his relationship with the team is being analyzed as if it were crucial intelligence. The excitement transcends just football. It's a cultural moment. OBJ isn't just a player returning to a team, he's a symbol of possibility. unpredictability, and the enduring allure of athletic excellence mixed with personality. Conversations are happening in living rooms, offices, online forums, and bars across the country as fans imagine the potential for jaw-dropping plays, highlight reels that go viral, and stories that will be told for years to come. And while analysts debate routes, matchups, and strategy, the human element can't be ignored. Beckham's charisma, his swagger, and his magnetic presence have always drawn attention beyond the X and O's of football. When he steps onto the field, cameras and fans alike are drawn to him. That's part of what makes this news so electrifying. Understanding that Beckham doesn't just play football, he commands attention. He elevates the spectacle, turning games into must-watch events. And now the Browns and the league are once again at the center of that spectacle. The rumors, whispers, and hype are all building toward a crescendo that has the potential to dominate headlines, social media, and conversations for weeks, if not months. Every fan has an opinion, every analyst a theory, and every team across the league a reaction. At the heart of it, the narrative is irresistible. A star returns to a familiar home, carrying with him the memories of past triumphs and setbacks, the promise of unforgettable moments, and the undeniable energy that has always set him apart. The Browns fans are buzzing with excitement, opponents are recalculating, and the football world is collectively holding its breath. OBJ is back, and whether he lives up to every expectation or surprises everyone in a way no one could predict, one thing is certain: the story is far from over, and the rumor that became reality has already ignited a frenzy unlike anything else in recent NFL history. For a league built on moments, on heroes and drama, Odell Beckham Jr.'s return is a headline that writes itself, a narrative loaded with tension, anticipation, and sheer spectacle. Every fan, analyst, and casual observer will be watching closely, waiting to see how this chapter unfolds. The question now isn't if OBJ can make an impact, it's how big that impact will be, how dramatic, and how unforgettable. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!